So again, I would start with some explanation before we directly jump on to the activities. So there are two types of questions: lexical reference and then lexical inference. Can you tell me what do you think the word reference means? So what do you think is the basic difference here?
Reference means a particular things that I think what does the meaning of something but particularly things the sentence they took from the pages of what we read, and they put on that, and they ask about the something that what does it mean.
So we can say a mention of something. Yeah, so like a mention of something that has already been stated. So that is something a reference would mean. What do you think inference means?
So inference, I think infer. What is infer? What is tells about something?
Yeah, and inference. Yes.
Yeah. What does it tells want to say? Uh, Particular things, I think.
Yeah. So to basically it means to conclude or to figure out from context. So if I say like some inference questions. So OET also says that in reading part C, so we have to develop a skill which is called reading for inference. It means that we have to understand the point of view from the context. So we have to see what they're trying to say. So to conclude or to figure out something. Okay. Now there is a difference between both of them. Lexical reference questions can be of two types. So as you said, like they can say, for example, in the question that, so what does this in paragraph 2 refer to, right? So this is how we see it. And then there are other types of questions that are also lexical reference questions where they will say, what does cost refer to in like paragraph 4 or something. Okay. Now there is a difference between these two types of lexical reference questions. Remember, we are talking about reference first. In this question, they have used a pronoun. This is a pronoun, right? So they can sometimes say this, sometimes they say it, sometimes they can say that, which, these, those. They never usually use very simple pronouns like he, she, because that would be way too easy. Yeah, so these are the pronouns that they always ask. So also, if we figure out the meaning, so why are pronouns used? So can you tell me what exactly are pronouns as per your knowledge?
Which comes, which can you put to denote the noun sometimes, but not directly by just like these, those, she, he.
Yeah. So it's used in place of a noun.
Like that.
Now that means noun should be written first. Only then you can use a pronoun. Right? Now I cannot say that I'm taking his classes and then later I will not mention Dr. Gaurav. I will mention Dr. Gaurav first. That Dr. Gaurav is one of my students and I'm taking his classes. I'll never say I'm taking his classes and my student is Dr. Gaurav. So that means whenever this kind of a question comes where pronouns are used, that means in the paragraph, the answer will be found in one line prior. Your answer for these questions will never be in the next line, one line prior. So you don't even have to read the paragraph. Okay, so this is the number one technique that you need to remember. So the paragraph might be 7 lines long and they underline, right, that what does this refer to in the paragraph. So this would
In the fifth
definitely
line. Suppose that in the fifth line.
Sorry?
suppose that it's that is suppose that it totals eight lines, yeah, and in the fifth line they mention that. So in the it means that in the fourth line I will have to find.
Yes. Yeah. So in the fourth line or within the fifth line, I'll give you the example of that because sometimes it can be in the sentence prior or in the same line it can be there. So we'll see an example. So if I say that I have many students in my class, but they are not that attentive. Yeah, so they is referring to whom?
Yeah, a student.
Exactly. Now you see it is in the same line, right? But I can also make it into two clauses. I could have written like this. However, they are not that attentive. Yeah, now here still they is referring to the students, but now it is in the line. So it will either be in the same line or in the line prior. But I cannot say that it would be in a line even before that one. So as you were giving me example of that, that if they is mentioned in the fifth line, the answer would be either in the fifth line or in the fourth line. It can't be too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is definitely the thing you have to remember. This will also save time. So, you know how you've been telling me that time management has been an issue. So, if you get questions like this, you know that you don't have to read the whole para. So, you will just be limited to those two, three lines. And that's how we are going to solve this. Okay. Now, this was one category of questions where there are pronouns, where we only need to look at two lines. So, one line prior plus the line where it is mentioned, because it has to grammatically make sense. So just two lines we need to read. In these kind of questions, when they ask you a word, what does cost refer to? So the same thing cannot apply now because whatever cost is referring to, it can be written later on. So it can be written previously also. So the same thing which applies for pronouns, we can't say the same over here. So for example, if I say that women have a great option to undergo IVF in cases of infertility. Okay. Now, if I then say, but there is a cost for that. Okay. Now, I don't know the cost because it has not been mentioned yet. Now, it can be mentioned in the next line. There are many side effects.
The side effects of the cost.
Exactly. Now, if I also say along with financial burden. Yeah, so the cost can be the side effect, the financial burden. If either one of them are mentioned in the answers, you will. So what I'm trying to show you is that if in reference they're asking you something other than the noun, then we can't say that, okay, it will only be mentioned prior. It can be mentioned later on also. So that's an example I wanted to give you. And as you correctly pointed out, the cost is mentioned later. That would be the many side effects or the financial burden for that. Okay, so these are lexical reference questions. So since we have discussed this first, let's do some activities where let's see if you can identify what these are referring to. So I would open the PDF as well on site. Actually, we are going to the second half first. Just a second. I'm just going to share my screen so that we are literally on the same page. Yeah.
I think activity 2 you are saying.
Yeah, exactly. Lexical reference question. So let's look at that. So here it says, see the sentences below and decide what the underlined word would refer to. Think about whether the words are singular or plural, subjects or objects, and look at the verbs and nouns that they relate to. Now, this is also important, singular or plural. If the pronoun is they, it means whatever is written before should be in plural form. Exactly. So that also helps in elimination. So if this is written, is singular form, not plural. So that's another way how this helps. Yeah, so here there are no answer options because we are just generally trying to understand what these pronouns would be referring back to. So let's do the first one together. So here it says in the first sentence, coverage for pre-existing conditions has been a part and parcel of all healthcare plans recently. The varying ways in which they have been defined, however, raise a number of budgetary questions. Okay. Now, as I said, we have to look at two lines. One is the line prior and one in which the word is written. So the first indication would be that they is plural. So you can also see where the plural forms are mentioned in the previous line.
Yeah. I think coverage for pre-existing condition has been a part and parcel of all the healthcare plans recently. The varying ways in which they have been defined, varying ways in what the plans recently. Part of parts of all the healthcare center. I think coverage for pre-existing condition. They means it's a pre-existing condition.
Yes, absolutely right. Good that you figured it out. So two things
Pre
were there. Either pre-existing conditions or healthcare plans. But healthcare plans cannot be varying because they are fixed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, you're right. Pre-existing conditions, that is what they is referring to. So just for your own reference also, you can write it as the answer so that you remember pre-existing conditions. Let's look at the second one.
Why not healthcare plan?
Because
Decreasing
it's
vaccination rates
varying
are
ways. So wait, let's come to the previous one. I want to clarify your doubt. Okay. In the first one, so you asked me, right? Why not healthcare plans?
Yeah,
Because understand the
yeah,
nature of healthcare plans. They are always set. But what is written in the next line? The varying ways in which they have been defined. Healthcare plans can never be defined in a variety of ways. They are fixed. So they cannot be varying. The only thing that
yeah,
can vary are the conditions.
yeah,
So that is why, in the instructions, what was written, look at the words if they are singular or plural, and look at the verbs and nouns that they relate to. So
yeah,
what is mentioned, right? Varying ways. So plans cannot vary. That's why.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
So look at the second one and try to figure it out.
Decreased vaccination rates are Achilles heels for many modern society, exposing a greater number of children to several diseases previously thought to close to eradication. This had previously been considered an achievable goal for the next 25 years, but experts have now been forced to revise the estimated. So this had previously, what does this refer? This had previously been considered. Uh, I think vaccination rates.
So rates are plural, right?
So yeah, rates are plural. Rates are plural. So this is singular. So
And also think
modern
about what is
society is also pretty exposing.
achievable goal. Yes, think about the nouns and verbs that it's relating to. So what would be an achievable goal in the previous line? But they have been forced to revise the estimate. So what can be a goal in the previous line? So think about it like that.
I think this had replacement consider. I think eradications. Close
Yes,
to the
exactly.
previously thought to close to eradicate several diseases. So several diseases are thought to be close to the eradication. So eradication had previously been considered as an achievable goal. Eradications. So this is singular.
Yeah, exactly. So eradication of several diseases, that was an achievable goal. So always look at this, okay? What can be an achievable goal? So use your understanding of that. Just like in the previous
Yeah,
one, we were looking at what can be varied. So it can't be planned. So what is an
yeah,
achievable goal? So vaccination rates, decreasing rates, that can never be the goal if they're going down. So that's
yeah,
another reason why that can't be correct.
yeah.
So yes, I will just write the answer here as well. So eradication of several diseases. Yeah. Let's look at the next one.
Yeah.
So the same things we applied in the previous two, apply them here as well. Look at singular or plural, look at what words they are
Yeah.
relating to, what ideas they are relating to.
So there means there we call the plural. The many consider access to safe legal abortion a human right. But the opinions of religious group who opposes the practice carry a lot of weight with legislators, and their endorsement is crucial, to electoral success in many parts of the country. The issue is unlikely to be settled at any time soon, and their endorsement is crucial to electoral success. Okay, their endorsement. The opinions of religious group oppose the practice carry a lot of weight with legislation and their endorsement. So their endorsement means plural. The women consider safe legal abortion. Opinions of religious group. Their endorsement is crucial. Wait with legislation. So legislation is plural here.
Now, think about the second sentence. Their endorsement is crucial. Okay, what is the meaning of endorsement? Think about that, and whatever options you're thinking about in the previous statement, whatever plural forms are mentioned. So, which category of people or something can do endorsements? So think about that in many parts of the country, etc. So
So
use that understanding.
I think yeah, I think a religious group
Exactly. Yes. Why do you think religious groups?
because because in there because initially they want safe legal abortion as a human right, but opinions of religious group who opposes, they are opposing the practice. The religious groups are opposing the practice to carry a lot of weight with legislature, but the election to success to make them in their in their side to pass that bill. So they need that type of person to be in the part of there. So the religious group who is opposing, so they must, their endorsement is crucial to electoral success in many parts of the country.
Exactly correct. Yes. Endorsement can't be done by legislatures. Legislatures are like the legislators are the lawmakers. So they can't endorse. But it is the religious groups, how there's campaigning and
Yeah,
all that. So they are the ones who can endorse, and that is important for electoral success.
yeah,
So that's why the issue is unlikely to be settled anytime soon. Yes. Good, you're getting the hang of it. That's great. Let's look at the next one.
Next one is organization have so far been unable to organizations have so far been unable to see eye to eye on the best way to achieve food security and reduce rate of malnutrition. This has stalled the process of distributing aid, and stall the process of distributing in some part of the region where it is most needed. This has stalled the process of distributing it. So this has stalled the process of. This is means singular. Yeah. Food security.
Now, a hint I would like to give you that
Okay.
sometimes this can also be an idea rather than just one word that you're looking in the previous line. So, yeah, try to figure it out that what can stall the process. So focus on the idea that is being developed there.
So this has stalled the process of distributing it. Best way, best way best way has stalled the process to achieve. Best way to achieve. Best way to achieve the food security
What's the meaning of
has stalled the
stall?
process of distributing.
What do you think is the
I don't
meaning of
understand the stall.
so stalled means
Stall the
actually,
process to distribute.
yeah, so delayed the process or kind of stopped the process. So something negative has happened that has stalled the process of
Yeah,
distributing.
yeah,
So now think about that. Something has happened, something wrong has happened. So what's mentioned in the previous line, which
yeah.
could be referring to that?
The organization have so far been unable to see eye to eye on the best way to achieve. The organization has, I think, so this is organization is the plurals. This has stalled the process of distributing it. So reduced rate of malnutrition's reduced rate of malnutrition has delayed the process of food to achieve food security.
So this is a tough one, so I would like to do this
Food
again.
security.
Now listen, in the previous line, so forget this for a moment, okay? Just tell me what is the negative thing that you can see in the previous line.
I think organization have so far been unable to see eye to eye.
Exactly. Now that has stalled the process.
Uh,
This is something that happened. Organizations have unable to see eye to eye. This has stalled the process of distributing aid in some of the regions. So that's why I was saying sometimes, the answer
yeah,
could be paraphrased as organizations' inability to see eye to eye. Seeing eye to eye, means
yeah,
that they haven't been in agreement, kind of. So yeah,
yeah,
that would be the answer for this. Okay, so this was a little tough, but I wanted you to
yeah.
think about it. So you can also think that something negative has happened. There's a negative impact because of something. So what is written in the previous line? That's a little
Yeah,
negative. So like
yeah,
that, you could approach
yeah.
that. Okay, let's look at the next one. Next one has two phrases that you have to figure, two pronouns that you have to figure out.
Okay, yeah. So the company have raised the stakes by reducing the price of many leading drugs, increasing pressure on competitors. They now face calls from the patient advocacy. So there is here is very, they now face calls from the patient advocacy group to make day. So pressure on competition, face call from patient advocacy group to make what does such adjustment the interest to such adjustment. So they may be the two things the company now face call from the I think
Absolutely
uh,
correct.
companies is the plural, so there is a plural, so companies now
So
face
why
calls
not
from the patient
competitors?
advocacy group. Yeah.
Why
So
not competitors?
because I was thinking about competition also, but they now face. So face calls from the patient. So who get calls? So not a competitor, it's a company getting calls.
Yeah, exactly. And what is such adjustments referring to?
Such adjustment means such adjustment. So what is raise the stakes? So I think that the reducing the price,
Yes, exactly.
so
That's one of,
adjustment is the price.
yeah,
Yeah.
adjustments like reducing the price. Exactly right. Yes, good. All right. Last one is a little tricky, but yeah, two pronouns.
Okay. So yeah, the board statement was seen as a breath of fresh air after months of inconclusive debate on the subject. The board statement was seen as a breath of fresh air after months of inconclusive debate on the subject. Despite this, it has yet to clarify its position on the ethical. Despite this,
Yeah, so think about it like despite what?
despite this means mm, So board statements, but despite board statement, it has to clarify position on the articles. I think board statement.
Yes. So the fact that
Board
both,
statement.
yeah, and also the positivity, because it was seen as a breath of fresh air. So the positivity of the board statement, but yes, you're right. Yeah, and it has yet to clarify. So what do you think it refers to?
It means the sentence was seen as a breath of air. It had it to class. Something is not in. So inclusive debate. So inclusive debate on the subject. So I think subject is the only
So think about it.
inclusive
If I
things.
say
So
that something has to clarify its position, so it is supposed to be a living thing, right? Only they can clarify their position. So if suppose you want more classes, so you will say that she's yet to clarify whether she'll take the classes, yeah. So what who will clarify its position on ethical implications? Debate is like it's something that we engage in. So how can a debate clarify? No, something else.
implication of the it to be clarified its position. Something it has it to clarify its position. Something has to clarify its position.
So think about the previous statement, okay, the previous line, and tell me, do you see any such living being or something that can make a decision? So who can make a decision in the previous sentence?
Board.
Yes, exactly. The board is yet to clarify. Yeah, so this was the statement that they have given, which is like a breath of fresh air, and it is referring to the board. The board has yet to clarify their position on the implication of the
Yeah.
trial. Yes, okay. So yes, these were some of the things. Please remember this, okay? So whether they're singular, plural, and look at the verbs and nouns
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they
Yes.
relate to. Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to cover. So we have spoken about lexical reference, particularly the pronouns. Now, another one that I was
Yes.
discussing with you was lexical inference. Now, in inference, sometimes they can give you
Yeah.
vocabulary. That what is the
Yeah.
meaning of this word, etc. So that you have to figure out from the context.
Hmm.
It means you have to read the paragraph um, and then understand the idea being developed by the writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is for the vocabulary. Now, also another thing that I want to discuss with you is idioms or phrases that can be used. Do you know what idioms are?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. The English idioms are the, so they're just like a elephant in the room,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
So do they have a
Or
literal meaning?
kill the birds. Kill the two birds or something with
Yeah.
one stone like that.
Yes, exactly. Those are idioms. So they don't have a literal meaning, right? So it's not actually there is an elephant in the room. It has a figurative
Yeah.
meaning. It means it has a hidden meaning that we have to understand. So
Yeah.
sometimes idioms and phrases are also used.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to know that this is not literal
Yeah.
meaning. It is always a figurative meaning. So even for that, understanding the
Yeah.
context is very very important. So just to give you an example, so if I suppose if I say that
Yeah.
the students of my class are very participative and they always listen to the instructions properly. So teaching this class is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Now, if I ask you, why did I use this
Yeah.
idiom, a piece of cake? What will you say?
Piece of case.
So I'm going to write it, okay? So if I say,
Yeah.
my students are very participative later in classes, and we enjoy a lot. Teaching this class is a piece of cake. So now the question for you would be that why did I use this idiom? So what will you say? Why did I use it?
So I think
What is the meaning?
if you piece of a cake, so if you compare with the student with a piece of a cake, so I don't think there is negative things coming with this thing. So there is a positive things coming piece of the cake.
Mhm.
So my students are participative in class and we enjoy a lot. Teaching this class is a piece because there are lots of enjoyment
Mhm.
in teaching this class. So
Yes,
it's just like
exactly.
a cake.
Yeah, and it's also very easy to do. So yes, exactly. So similarly, even if you don't know the meaning beforehand, you can see from the context what idea am I developing.
Yeah.
So it's very good that you saw that okay,
Yeah.
something positive is happening, very participative, enjoy a lot. So it's very easy going. So yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, like there are some other examples also that now we would be discussing. So just remember, look at the whole idea that is being developed. So never be overwhelmed that, oh, I have not seen this idiom or this phrase before. Doesn't matter. It is the
Yeah.
main idea that we have to understand. Okay. So now actually we would come to the first activity
Yeah.
that I wanted to do. So this is about so figuring out the meaning of the phrase or idiom. So on the first column, you can see that there are some sentences
Yeah.
that are written, and in the second column, there are some meanings. Now you have one advantage.
Yeah.
Actually, if you
Yeah.
see, in the second activity, we have already seen the first ones. So if you want to understand the meaning of the phrases that are
Yeah.
highlighted, you can even look at the second sentence from below. Yeah, so like the first one, see, if you remember, we did this already. Coverage for pre-existing condition has been a part and parcel of all healthcare plans recently. Okay,
Yeah.
so can you look at the meanings and tell me what do you think it could mean from the context?
Coverage for pre-existing conditions has been a part has been a part and parcel of all healthcare plans recently. So different. So you have to choose the meanings. Means A, B,
Yeah,
C,
one of them,
D,
one
E.
of them would be correct.
One
Yeah.
of coverage of pre-existing conditions part of all healthcare plan recently. Point one, which is different in a positive way, influential. It's more difficult to say. Point of vulnerability. Yes. Point of vulnerability, it's not point of vulnerability. Different in positive way.
And there's also next page, there is one more option.
Oh, a usual or essential element. I think has been I think essential element
Yes, that's right. Yeah, usual
because
or
parts in parts.
yeah, part and parcel, exactly. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So we have done the first one. So let's try the second one. So remember, you don't have to know the
Decreasing
meaning.
vaccines.
Okay, the idea developed,
Yeah.
you have to focus on the words that they are relating to. Yeah.
The decreasing vaccination rate actually for many modern societies exposing greater number of children to several diseases. It's just I think point of vulnerability
Very good, you did that so quickly. Why do you think it is deep?
because because it's a threat greater numbers of children to several diseases.
Hmm.
So I think it's several previously the which was
Yeah.
previously those close to eradications. Yeah. So it's a threat like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a threat,
Not,
like, yeah, exposing them
yeah,
to several
yeah,
diseases, that's making them vulnerable to the diseases.
it's a threat.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
Let's look at the third one.
Many consider access to safe legal abortion a human right, but the options of religious group opposes the practice carry a lot of weight with legislature. I think it's just influential
Yes, that's right. Why do you think it's influential?
because it's telling about the religious group who opposes. So one is that safe and legal abortion. One idea is human right that is safe and legal, but there is a contrast with coming opinions of religious group which doesn't like these things. So carry a lot of weight. Their decision needed in this
Yes.
participations.
Yeah.
It's influential. He can influence the legislations or legislatives or that's which are bringing in the parliament or anyway. So their approval is necessary.
Absolutely. Right. Let's go to the next.
Organizations have so far seen unable to see eye to eye on the best way to achieve food security and reduce rate of malnutrition. So I think it's risk like that.
Not exactly. You can go back to what we discussed in the second activity. Look at that also. Maybe that will give you some hint.
Organizations have so far been unable to see eye to eye on the best way to achieve different in positive way. Agree. Not agree. Mistakes. I think it's different in positive way.
No, it is actually agreed that they have been unable to agree on the best
Oh.
way. Yes, to see eye to eye. That means to agree. So if you remember, even in the second activity, we were saying, right, that stalled the process because they could not agree.
Yeah.
That's why. Yes. Okay. So let's look at the next one.
The company have raised the stakes by reducing the price for many leading drug, increasing pressure on competition. The company have raised the stakes by reducing the price. Stakes by reducing the price and many leading drugs. So reducing the price of it's a risk more or not. I think risk more.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Why did you think risk more?
Uh, because the price got down and there are so many competitors in there, so there is a risk that they will start. So other competitors also try to make more down. So there is
Exactly.
a risk.
Yes, absolutely correct. Yeah. And we are left with just one.
Yeah. The board statement was seen as after a month of inclusive debate. Also, the board statement was seen as a breakthrough. So it's a positive. It's just a different positive.
Yeah, exactly. Good. So you are getting the hang of it. That's great. So basically, you got
Yeah.
5 out of 6 for this one. So that's good. So let's see if we can put it into practice. Okay. So now let's come to one of the practice questions. So this is
You know,
after.
I have the problem is I have the same problem. Uh, when I read this, I can figure out. But when it comes to the question, when it comes to the paragraph, at that time pressure everything. So at that time, it's very difficult to make that sense.
But now you will, because as I said, right now I am basically teaching you how to think. You don't even realize it, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So, so I'm pretty sure we would be able to apply it
Yeah.
here as well. So the first question we are going to do together, and others you're going to do on your own. Okay. So the first question here says,
Yeah.
and remember the context is very,
Yeah.
very important. So the question says, the writer uses the phrase minding your own business to make the point that. Now, whenever there are some phrases that you have heard before. So
Yeah.
do you know the actual meaning of minding your own business?
Yeah.
You know, right? So that will
Yeah.
help.
I means just do your own work. Don't interfere in my things. Do
Yeah.
your own things.
So whenever you see a phrase like that you already know, use that. Okay. So look at the
Yeah.
context, like which line it is used in, and then you can of course look at other things as well. So why has the writer used this phrase?
Okay. Yeah. So you are walking down the street, minding your own business. You're walking down the street. Suddenly you see someone collapse to the ground. They are unresponsive, not breathing. Do you perform CPR? No doubt you like to think that you would. Don't no doubt you like to think that you would. But what if the unlucky person was a woman? If the unlucky person was a woman, the question may seem redundant, but unfortunately, it is not. A study this month found that women are less likely than men to get CPR from a bystander and are more likely to die. So it's basically, I think,
Now go
there's an
back to the line.
opinion that's a total.
No, so this is not asking you the writer's opinion, okay? What is the question saying? Why is that phrase being
Mind your
used?
own. Okay. Why this will people are often hesitant to change their daily routines. Daily routine. There's nothing talking about daily routine. Uh, Witnessing a medical emergency in as an unusual experience. Uh, our willingness to help others is influenced by uh, our willingness to help others influenced by our prejudices. Most of are generally inclined to ignore a person in distress. There's nothing saying the most of them. Mind your own business. Most of are generally inclined to ignore our willingness to help others influenced by our prejudices.
So now you're confused between answer option. Go back to the line.
So you are walking down a street, minding your own business. You see collapse on the ground there under someone's not betting. Do you perform CPR? Think to do. But unlucky person. But yeah, I think it's C.
Not exactly. See, again, I'm drawing your attention to the first line. So you're walking down the street, minding your own business. Suddenly, you see someone collapse to the ground. In that context, it is used. Suddenly means unexpectedly, right? That you suddenly see that somebody has collapsed. Later on, it has gone off to another topic that, what if it's a woman,
Yeah.
etc., etc. But they're asking about minding your own business. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if it was asking as the main point of the para, then I would choose C. But it's not asking the main point. It's only asking about minding your own business. So what has happened? Suddenly somebody collapsed to the ground while you were just, minding your own business. So daily routines
People
with
often
things like
hesitant to
that
change.
was mentioned, as you said in the beginning, right? And
So, so people are often minding your own business to make the point. Right? If you're minding your own business, you are walking down the street. You are going for somewhere. I think that's ignore the person in a most of us are generally inclined to ignore a person in distress. So,
yeah, now look at it. Is it
influence by
mentioned anywhere
prejudice is not unusual.
about ignoring somebody? Is it mentioned anywhere?
The question may seem redundant, but unfortunately, it's not redundant means you are not keen for something.
Yeah. So for this
So if
question,
you are not keen, you are not interested.
so redundant means silly, that the question may seem silly,
Yeah,
but it is not. Okay, but again, you're going too
yeah,
far away from the point. So actually, for this one, I'll tell you, B is the answer. Witnessing a medical emergency is an unusual experience. See, suddenly you see someone collapse to the ground. So you're not really expecting it. So that's an unusual experience. Here it's written, most of us are generally inclined to ignore. No, not ignore a person. What they were trying to say is like, if it's a woman, less likely she will get the CPR. But yeah, so basically, this question is extremely tough. But why I wanted to do this with you is to show you that stick to the context. That line is very
yeah.
important where it is mentioned. Okay, let's do one more. So I'm skipping this one because this is just like a general question. It is not related to the topic for today. Let's look at the third question. Okay, so
Yeah.
please come to that. So it's a what kind of a question is it?
So it just one is called lexical reference, inference type of.
This is reference. Yeah, what is it
So
referring?
inference. Yeah.
Yeah, third question. Please come to the third question. So try to solve it within 2.5 minutes and then we'll discuss.
Third one.
Yeah, third question.
Mm,
I'm skipping the second because that is
Okay,
not
so
related to the topic for today.
those refer to means those refer to.
Yeah, this one. So, and the paragraph is given above the question. So this paragraph.
Okay. One model of delivering serious news is called spikes, developed by Walter. And initiator use. I think I did it before. Used for the discussion with cancer patient. The first step in a spike is setting up an interview. A quiet private area such as an exam room and family meeting room is an ideal setting. The patient should be able to choose family member or friend to be present for support. For those who do not speak fluent English, for those. So those means words. Then patient and relative, yeah.
Yeah, so remember, just two lines we have to be concerned with. So you should have directly gone to these two lines. We don't even need to read the rest of it. Remember? Pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so save your time. Only read the two lines and then try to figure out the meaning. If still you can't, then you can read some extra, but this is where. So, yes, patients and relatives, that's the right answer. Yeah, healthcare staff, experts, language translators are mentioned later or too early. So, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come to the next question.
Next question is the expression in
Yeah.
over their head used to stress a patient might. So find information. So we're struggling to remember information. Uh, Make a choice about the treatment quickly. Have difficulty understanding their problems. So in their spikes, the strategy and summary, patient who receives serious news will often feel that they are in over their head. So over their head. So you should make sure that they live with a clear plan for the future. Clear plan for the future. This will help them to feel less anxious and more hopeful. Patients should know what options are available for them and what follow-up is planned. You should also recheck that they understand what they have said, been discussed, and have all the question. A good opening statement could be, "I understand this is a lot to take it, but have you several options? The decision does not need to be made now, but we would like to refer you to oncologist and follow up with his assessment we discuss your next treatment." So expression is in over there used to stress that patient might, what the patient might struggle to. So yeah, so nothing to treatment. Yeah, overwhelming is when you get much idea on the brain giving like that. So when you receive serious news, I think it's fine. The information overwhelming.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So serious news, yes, they are in over their head, so you should make sure. Yeah, they didn't say anything about struggle to remember information or making a choice quickly. Difficulty understanding is also not there. So yes, you're right. A would be the right answer for this. Now this is like that idiom portion that we did. So good that you understood that. Okay, let's look at the next one.
Next one is the what could be the meaning of fallout in this paragraph? Fallout. Fallout. So fallout. It's not. This is not exactly pronoun one. So
No, it's not.
outbreak of E. coli in Germany that has killed at least 16 people, left 100 battling infection across Europe, raising the question about what risk the infection continues to pose and what fallout it will cause. Means fallout it will cause means fallout it will cause. What will the fallout? Okay. There's the futures. There is some what are the futures that will have to infected people. This is just simple, I think. There is nothing what effects infection will have on them. So there is two things I am confused. What effect of infection will have on the infected people? What fallout it will cause? What risk the infection continues to pose? And what fallout it will cause? So, so there is two. I am confused with A and C.
So there is one difference
So
in A and C. There's one difference. Try to figure out if you can say that.
what effects the breakout will have? What effects the fallout?
So this
The
is the
effect,
extra part. So now see, the effects will only be on the infected people. Is that what they're saying? Is it only infected people?
so battling infection across Europe raises question about what risk the infection continues to pose. Uh, I think what risk the infection continues to pose. Risk the infection continues to pose. That is 16
Yeah.
people die left.
Think about, will the infection be only on infected people or everybody?
So, infection in Europe raising question about what the risk infection continue to pose and what fallout. Because it is still unknown, but the test will come to Germany. I think this is a country is given, so it's nothing talking about only the. I think it's C.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So not about infected people. Yeah, you've selected correctly now.
Because I went through because it's not talking about all it, worrying about something 16 people are already infected and this and they're talking about Europe,
Mhm.
Germany, so it's the breakouts, the fear for breakout.
Exactly. Great. So you have three more questions that you can do in your own time. Did you do the rest of them that I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, that was very tough.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very tough. I
fine.
don't understand this. So this is my problem, and the text comes very,
See, you will never, to be very honest, even the students who have scored like 400, they're never sure that I don't know. The difficulty level will always be the same. The only thing is that how you are approaching it will keep on getting better. Okay, so that is what matters. So never think that, okay, this time I know that I have done the best and I'll clear all the questions. So no, that's not how you should think. So just, your understanding and thinking is improving. I can see that already. Just keep at it. That's all.
yes.
Okay. When do you want the
Yes.
next class?
So I will send